Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is August the 9th, 2016. I have an article here titled Julian Assange Suggests Seth Rich, who was murdered in D.C., was WikiLeaks DNC source. And that is from yesterday, July the 8th. So let's check out the videos in this.
Now to our top story. An Omaha family is grieving tonight after their son was shot and killed in Washington, D.C. over the weekend.
Seth Rich was born and raised in Omaha. He worked for the Democratic National Committee in D.C. New at 10, reporter Nick Starling spoke to his parents tonight. Nick?
Kevin, Jen, Seth Rich's parents say he had a passion for helping others, and it showed in his work at the DNC. But now that work is cut short, and his parents are still trying to find information on why someone would do this to their son.
Senseless.
Seth Rich's parents looking for answers after he was shot and killed in Washington, D.C. Sunday morning.
If it was a robbery, it failed because he still had his watch, he still had his money, he still had his credit cards, he still had his phone. So it was a wasted effort, except we lost a life.
Seth's dad, Joel Rich, says his son was talking to his girlfriend on the phone outside D.C.'s largely upscale Northwest Quadrant at the time.
Asked him if he was home yet, he said just about, and then she heard some noise. He said he'd have to call her back, and I don't know when that conversation ended, but at 4:18 there were 2 shots fired.
Seth was shot twice. Police found Rich conscious and breathing, but he died in a hospital. Seth's parents say he had a lot of potential.
The sad part are all the unfulfilled promises or possibilities that he could have had. That's what we'll miss.
Seth went to Central High School, then studied political science at Creighton and moved to D.C. Seth was the voter expansion data director for the DNC.
Making sure everybody who wants to vote has the opportunity.
One of the things they will miss about Seth is his positivity.
Our son may have had a short life, but he had a very wonderful life that he smiled and enjoyed.
Now, through this pain, Seth's parents say they have to find a way to get through this.
I've got to remember all the good and all the positive, and that's what will make Seth's life of value versus wasting it.
Well, it turns out that Seth may have just been working with Julian Assange. Let's hear from him next.
Donald Trump has had a disastrous few weeks. If you look at the polls, he needs a miracle. In the American political lexicon, there's such a thing as the October surprise. The stuff that you're sitting on, is an October surprise in there? Do you even know what you're sitting on?
WikiLeaks never sits on material. Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
But why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources are, our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
But it's quite something to suggest a murder. That's basically what you're doing.
Well, that others have suggested that. We are investigating to understand what happened in that situation with Seth Rich. I think it is a concerning situation. There's not a conclusion yet. We wouldn't be willing to state a conclusion, but we are concerned about it. And more importantly, a variety of WikiLeaks sources are concerned when that kind of thing happens.
Well, it seems Julian Assange may have a lot of friends. One of them may be dead, but he may still have many that are alive, according to this article. So let's see what this article has to say, and this is from Emmy, the force to be reckoned with. Thank you, Emmy. William Binney, a 30-year-old official at the National Security Agency turned whistleblower, revealed the unthinkable. Mr. Binney, who devised the software that the NSA has used to capture the contents of emails and cell phone conversations of all in America, but resigned from the NSA because of the unlawful and unconstitutional manner in which the software was used, told a Philadelphia radio audience that the DNC hacking was most likely done by NSA agents. Why would the NSA hack into DNC computers, and why would the NSA leak what its agents saw? Here's where the deep state meets the political world. The deep state consists of intelligence, military, law enforcement, and administrative agency personnel who aggressively protect their own interests, which transcend elections. Stated differently, many of these folks remain in opaque positions of power, and in governmental departments and agencies for which they work continue to expand, no matter which party wins the White House or controls Congress. The deep state stays in power by a variety of means, some of which are lawful, and not the least of which was visited upon the DNC last week. Mr. Binney knows the inside workings of NSA computers because he designed them. He knows how easily it would have been for any of the NSA's 60,000 agents, many of them have great antipathy towards Clinton, to employ their skills to frustrate her drive towards the presidency. The intelligence community's antipathy towards Mrs. Clinton has two general sources. One is her misuse of emails containing state secrets. Among the top emails that the FBI discovered on Mrs. Clinton's non-secure private servers were some that revealed the names of U.S. intelligence agents operating undercover in the Middle East. Because Clinton emailed secrets to others who the FBI found were hacked by hostile foreign intelligence services, and because she used a non-secure mobile email device while inside the territories of hostile governments, her extremely careless use of her emails resulted in the termination of the undercover work of those whose cover she caused to be revealed. Many in the intelligence community also suspect that in some cases, U.S. undercover agents lost their lives because Clinton failed to keep their identities secret. The other source of intelligence community antipathy to Clinton stems from her secret war waged against the Libyan strongmen, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. When she waged that war using intelligence, not military personnel, with the approval of the president and a dozen members of Congress, she exercised her authority as Secretary of State to grant exemptions to a UN arms embargo of Libya. She wanted Libyan militias to have heavy-duty military-grade arms with which to topple the Libyan government. It's also important to keep in mind that some of the people who were responsible for saving the American lives, were the leaders that were in the pro-Gaddafi regime. We had turned our backs on them, but they helped us anyway, and they saved our lives. Despite that nasty black op that Barack Hussein Obama put out on them by arming the rebels. That would be known as Operation Zero Footprint, my friends. But the CIA and others warned her that she was arming terrorist groups, which was potentially lethal for some American intelligence personnel and which is a felony under federal law. One of those groups may have used Clinton-authorized embargo-free weapons to assassinate Christopher Stevens, the U.S. ambassador to Libya at Benghazi. Clinton disregarded the CIA's advice and didn't worry about anyone's finding out about it because she thought her emails would remain secret. But Binney's conclusion that the NSA and not the Russians hacked the DNC is further supported by official White House silence. Last year, when Chinese intelligence agents hacked U.S. government computers and accessed personnel records of millions of federal government employees, the White House lodged long and loud protests with Beijing. This time, there have been no such protests to the Kremlin. What does that tell us? It tells us that Hillary Clinton continues to be the queen of deceptions. It could also tell us that our government is willfully working with Russia. Who knows? But wouldn't it be nice if Julian Assange had all of these friends? I would be thrilled to pieces. I guess in October we will find out. I think it's going to show if we can find out where Hillary Clinton was between October and January of 2012, because that is the time when Commander Job Price was killed. It was right after the Benghazi attack. And if we can put her on that plane that crashed in Iran, that would show that Commander Job Price did not in fact commit suicide in Afghanistan, but he in fact was killed by an Iranian. But we'll have to find out about that later on down the line. I did a video on that titled Never Forget. I'll leave the link in the description box. This is Call of Duty Goddess signing off, and as always, I've got your 6.